Less than 2% real avocado. That's what lab analysis found inside some of America's most popular guacamole brands. Products you've been scooping onto chips, spreading on toast, and feeding to your family for years. But crack open the wrong container, and what you're really eating is soybean oil, modified cornstarch, and artificial food coloring dressed up as a fresh avocado dip. If this has been your go-to brand for a decade or more, everything hiding in that ingredient list has been working against your body that entire time. Today, I'm breaking down 11 guacamole brands that are lying to you. The ones stuffing containers with cheap fillers, dangerous oils, and deceptive labels. Plus the 2 brands that actually deliver real avocado with nothing to hide. Coming in at number 11, Dean's. That familiar tub in the refrigerated section. The one you've probably grabbed 100 times without thinking. Dean's guacamole dip looks like guacamole. It sits next to guacamole. The label says guacamole, but the primary ingredient is skim milk. Not avocado, skim milk, and oil. The actual avocado content is less than 2%. 2%. You could lick an avocado pit and get more nutritional benefit than what Dean's puts in an entire container. The green color that makes it look like real guacamole is food coloring. They literally dye a dairy-based dip green and call it guacamole. Open the container and really look at it. That texture is too smooth, too uniform, too perfect. Real guacamole has chunks, variation, natural imperfection from mashed fruit. Dean's looks like it came out of an industrial nozzle because it did. The modified food starch they use as a thickener can spike blood sugar levels in people already managing glucose sensitivity or prediabetes. The sodium content works against anyone watching their blood pressure or taking daily medication to control it. For people who switched to guacamole thinking they were choosing a heart-healthy fat, or families dipping vegetables in this at dinner thinking it's a better snack for their kids, you're eating dyed milk with a marketing budget. Dean's doesn't sell guacamole. They sell the idea of guacamole, the color of guacamole, the shelf placement of guacamole. Everything except actual guacamole. 2% avocado, 98% betrayal. And they've been getting away with it for years because nobody flips the container over and reads what's actually in the product they're feeding their family. That was a budget brand cutting corners. Surely a name you associate with authentic Mexican food does better, right? Wrong. Number 10. Ortega. The brand families have trusted for decades. The one that sits next to the taco kits and salsa jars looking like it belongs in your kitchen. Ortega's guacamole promises convenience and authenticity in one scoop. The ingredient list tells a completely different story. The base of this product is water, soybean oil, and modified cornstarch. That's not guacamole. That's industrial paste with avocado flavoring sprayed on top. The actual avocado content is minimal, buried so deep in the ingredients it barely registers as present. Sodium benzoate sits on that label as a preservative, a chemical that has raised concerns in studies examining its long-term effects on cellular health and organ function. The hydrogenated oils inside are directly linked to elevated LDL cholesterol and increased cardiovascular risk. For anyone taking statins to bring cholesterol numbers down, or people on blood thinners managing cardiovascular risk after a medical event, this product actively fights the medications meant to protect them. It works against the prescriptions your doctor wrote specifically to keep you alive longer. Squeeze some onto a chip. Notice how it doesn't brown. Real avocado oxidizes within minutes of exposure to air. That browning is natural, expected, proof that real fruit is inside. Ortega's dip stays that perfect green for days because there's almost no real avocado in it to oxidize. That unnaturally long shelf life isn't freshness, it's chemistry. Ortega built its reputation on taco nights and family dinners. They leveraged that trust to sell a container of oil and starch with a green tint and a familiar logo. Your taco deserves better. Your body definitely does. If the family dinner brand is hiding oil and starch, at least the snack brands are upfront about what's inside, right? Think again. Number 9. Tostitos Avocado Salsa. The green jar shelved right next to the chips, positioned perfectly for game day, for parties, for mindless snacking with friends and family. The packaging screams avocado with bold letters and vibrant graphics. The reality whispers something else entirely. Despite that green color and the word avocado printed across the front, the actual avocado content is negligible. Water, cornstarch, and oils form the base of this product. You're essentially dipping chips into flavored paste. Each serving delivers over 250 milligrams of sodium. That doesn't sound catastrophic until you consider how people actually eat this product in the real world. Nobody measures a single serving of dip on game day. Nobody stops after 2 tablespoons. 2 servings become 4. 4 becomes half the jar. That's over 1,000 milligrams of sodium in one sitting. Invisible salt overload during a single football game. For people already eating processed foods throughout the day and accumulating sodium from multiple sources, or anyone managing fluid retention and swelling in their legs and ankles, that cumulative sodium creates real strain on kidneys already working at reduced capacity. It compounds silently, meal after meal, game after game, year after year. Pick up the jar. Feel the weight of it. Real guacamole is dense, heavy with avocado flesh. This jar feels surprisingly light because it's mostly water and thickener, pretending to be something substantial. Tostitos knows you won't read the back of the label. They're betting everything on that front panel. Avocado in big letters. Chemistry in small print. You've seen what the mainstream brands hide. So what about a company that actually specializes in avocados? Number 8. Calavo. This is a company built entirely on avocados. They grow them, pack them, ship them, distribute them to retailers worldwide. If anyone should produce an honest guacamole, it's the avocado experts themselves. But their pre-made guacamole tells a completely different story. Fillers, excessive preservatives, and a taste so artificial it contradicts everything their whole avocado business represents. Independent reviewers have noted how far the processed guacamole falls from the quality of their fresh fruit. The high citric acid levels used to extend shelf life create a specific problem many people don't see coming until it's too late. Acid reflux and GERD affect nearly 40% of adults over 50. That burning sensation after eating, that tightness in your chest, that disrupted sleep from acid creeping up your throat at night. Calavo's preservative load can trigger and worsen every one of those symptoms in people who were managing them just fine before. Certain blood pressure medications are also affected by excessive citric acid intake, reducing their effectiveness exactly when you need them, working hardest to protect you. Open a container of Calavo's pre-made guacamole and set it next to a fresh avocado from the same company. The color is different. The texture is different. The smell is different. One is food, the other is a preserved, engineered product designed for shelf life, not for your stomach. A company that knows avocados better than almost anyone on earth still chose profit margins over product quality. They could make the best store-bought guacamole on the market. They make the most profitable instead. The avocado experts chose fillers over fruit. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It's free, and it means you'll never miss these exposés. If avocado experts won't give you real avocado, what chance do budget brands have? Number 7. Santa Ana, the budget-friendly option promising authentic Mexican-style flavor at a price that won't break the bank. Found in mid-tier grocery chains across the country, priced to move off the shelf. What moves into your body is soybean oil, water, and chemical thickeners stretching a tiny amount of avocado into a full container that looks generous. Here's the specific danger most people completely miss. Soybean oil is loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. In small amounts, omega-6 is natural and necessary. In excess, it triggers inflammatory responses throughout your entire body. For people dealing with arthritis pain in their hands, knees, and hips, or families where joint inflammation and chronic pain run through multiple generations, this product adds fuel to fires already burning inside your joints. Real avocado delivers anti-inflammatory monounsaturated fats that can actually help reduce swelling. Santa Ana delivers the exact opposite. It takes the one food that could soothe your joints and replaces it with an oil that attacks them from the inside. That's not a shortcut. That's a reversal. Taste it side by side with fresh guacamole. The difference is immediate and unmistakable. Santa Ana has a slick, oily mouthfeel that coats your tongue the wrong way. It lingers uncomfortably. Real guacamole is creamy and clean. This is greasy, filmy, and leaves an aftertaste that has nothing to do with avocado. That residue is pure soybean oil. You're eating a $3 tub of inflammation marketed as a Mexican tradition. Authentic flavor on the label. Artificial everything else inside the container. That was a budget brand selling inflammation. Surely the biggest name in Mexican-American food holds itself to a higher standard, right? Number 6. Mission. Tortillas, chips, taco shells, wraps. Mission is everywhere in America. Walk into any grocery store and you'll see that logo staring back at you from multiple aisles. Their name carries decades of trust built one tortilla at a time. Their guacamole carries something else entirely. Independent label reviews reveal significant amounts of added sugar, canola oil, and preservatives that have no place in a product that should contain 5 or 6 simple ingredients at most. Hidden sugars are the quiet saboteur nobody suspects in guacamole. They destabilize blood glucose in people already managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, creating spikes and crashes that compound dangerously over weeks and months of regular consumption. For anyone watching their weight because of joint problems in their knees and hips, or families trying to make healthier choices at the dinner table, the caloric density from those added oils turns what should be a healthy fat into a stealth weight gain product sitting in your fridge. Mission's brand recognition does the selling. The ingredient list does the damage quietly behind that trusted logo. Squeeze it from one of those convenient pouches onto a plate. Watch how it holds an unnatural, rigid shape. Real guacamole slumps, spreads, moves like something that was once alive. Mission's product sits in a perfect mound because starches and gums are holding it hostage in an artificial formation that nature never intended. The biggest name in Mexican-American food selling you sugar-laced, oil-padded paste. Trust built on tortillas. Broken by guacamole. Mission traded on trust. The next brand traded on health, and it might be worse. Number 5, Sabra, the hummus giant. The brand that dominates every deli section in America with its signature round containers and bold packaging. When Sabra launched guacamole, health-conscious shoppers assumed the same clean reputation applied naturally to the new product line. It doesn't. Sabra's guacamole uses heavy jalapeno and aggressive spice to mask a limited avocado base. Spice becomes camouflage. You taste heat and burn instead of noticing what's absent from the container. But the real issue goes far beyond ingredients on a label. Sabra's production facilities have faced FDA recalls for potential salmonella and listeria contamination. These aren't theoretical risks printed in medical textbooks. These are real events that triggered real government enforcement action against a major food brand. Listeria is particularly devastating for anyone with a compromised immune system from illness, treatment, or age. Hospitalization rates climb sharply among vulnerable populations when listeria enters the food supply. Fatality rates from listeria are among the highest of any foodborne pathogen in the country. For people recovering from illness whose immune defenses are still rebuilding slowly, or families with young children and newborns whose immune systems haven't fully developed yet, a contamination history like Sabra's isn't a footnote buried on a government database. It's a warning sign you should take seriously every time you reach for that lid. The hummus was supposed to be the healthy choice at the store. The guacamole was supposed to extend that clean promise into a new category. Instead, you get limited avocado, excessive spice to hide the absence, and a production track record that should give anyone serious pause. The health brand with a contamination record. That's not a contradiction. That's a red flag. We're halfway through this list. Drop a comment if you've had any of these brands in your fridge this month. Let's see how many of us have been eating this without knowing what's really inside. Sabra's contamination issues were public record. The next brand hides its problems somewhere smaller, in the portion size itself. Number 4. Holy Guacamole Minis, the single-serve snack packs. Marketed as portion-controlled, healthy, perfect for on-the-go eating and packed lunches. The classic version uses real avocado as its base, and that's what earns your trust initially. But the flavored and spicy varieties tell a very different story once you examine the nutrition panel. Sodium levels in those tiny individual cups can exceed 300 milligrams per single serving. 300 milligrams in a container smaller than your fist. Think about that concentration. It's staggering for something marketed as a healthy snack. For anyone taking ACE inhibitors or diuretics for blood pressure management, or people carefully watching their sodium intake because of kidney concerns and fluid balance, these hidden sodium loads create dangerous potassium-sodium imbalances in the body. The consequences are not abstract medical terms from a textbook. Dizziness that leads to falls. Falls that lead to fractures. Cardiac irregularities that land people in emergency rooms. Real symptoms from real chemical imbalances caused by a snack pack the size of an applesauce cup that you grabbed because the label said healthy. Added sugars and preservatives round out the flavored varieties, turning what started as a genuinely clean product into something its original version would be ashamed to sit next to on the shelf. Peel back that foil lid on a flavored variety. The color is slightly different from the classic. A little too vivid, a little too uniform across the surface. That's the additives doing their work. Holy Guacamole built a good product with the classic and then systematically undermined it with flavored line extensions designed for marketing departments, not for your health. The classic might be fine. The minis are a sodium trap disguised as smart snacking. The next brand on this list doesn't hide behind portion sizes. It hides behind the deli counter itself. Number 3. La Mexicana. Positioned in the refrigerated deli section right next to fresh salsas, cut vegetables, and handmade dips that someone actually prepared that morning. Everything about its shelf placement says freshly made by someone in the back of the store. Everything about its ingredient list says the opposite. Water and hydrogenated oils appear among the first listed ingredients. Not avocado, not anything resembling fresh food. Water and industrial oils designed for shelf stability and maximum profit margins. Hydrogenated oils are directly and conclusively linked to elevated LDL cholesterol and arterial plaque buildup over time. For anyone already managing heart disease with daily medication and careful dietary restrictions, or people recovering from cardiac events and following strict guidelines from their cardiologist, this product compounds the very cardiovascular risks they're fighting every day to control. Calcium disodium. EDTA sits on the label as a preservative, an additive that long-term consumption studies have flagged with serious safety concerns about accumulation in the body over years. It doesn't belong in something pretending to be fresh from the deli case. Pick up the container and actually read every line printed on that label. Then look up at where it sits on the shelf, nestled comfortably between genuinely fresh products made with real ingredients. The disconnect between placement and contents is deliberate and carefully calculated. Fresh placement, factory ingredients. Deli section trust, warehouse shelf chemistry. La Mexicana is counting on your eyes to override your judgment, counting on that refrigerated deli context to silence every question you should be asking about what's actually inside. The deli section sells freshness. La Mexicana sells the illusion of it. See the pattern yet? Budget brands use cheap oils. Trusted names use fillers. Even the deli section lies to your face. So what about the biggest retailer in America? Can they do better? Number 2. Great value. Walmart's store brand. Rock-bottom pricing backed by the most powerful distribution network on earth. Great Value Guacamole is one of the most purchased store-brand guacamoles in America because it costs almost nothing at checkout, and it delivers almost nothing to your body. The product is predominantly water, soybean oil, and corn syrup solids. Avocado is so far down the ingredient list it contributes negligible nutritional benefit to anything. Corn syrup solids trigger insulin spikes that are particularly hazardous for the millions of Americans managing metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance. You think you're buying guacamole. You're buying corn syrup and oil dyed green and sold at a price too low to contain anything real or nutritious. Scoop it onto a chip and pay attention. That waxy film it leaves on the roof of your mouth, that coating on your teeth and gums. That's soybean oil residue. Real guacamole doesn't leave a film or a residue. Real guacamole dissolves cleanly because it's made of actual fruit, actual cellular material that breaks down naturally. The near-complete lack of real avocado means buyers get none of the potassium, none of the fiber, none of the heart-healthy monounsaturated fats they think they're eating when they chose the green container. For families stretching grocery budgets and choosing great value because every dollar matters at checkout, or anyone relying on this product thinking they're getting the health benefits that real avocado provides, you're paying less because you're getting nothing of nutritional value. The cheapest guacamole in America. You get exactly what you pay for. Every brand so far has been bad, but number 1 is the brand that was actually taken to federal court over what's inside that container. Kraft Guacamole Dip, the household name recognized by nearly every American consumer. The brand generations of families have trusted on their tables at Super Bowl parties, summer barbecues, holiday gatherings, and weeknight dinners for decades. That neon green product labeled guacamole dip contains less than 2% actual avocado. Less than 2%. Think about that number. Kraft was the subject of a class action lawsuit for misleading consumers into believing they were purchasing real guacamole made from real avocados. A federal court heard the case and examined the evidence. Consumers testified that they felt deceived by the packaging and the branding they'd trusted. The product they brought home wasn't guacamole. It was a cocktail of modified food starch, coconut and soybean oils, and artificial coloring engineered to look like something it fundamentally is not. No meaningful potassium, no fiber, no healthy fats, zero of the nutritional benefits that real avocado provides for heart health, blood pressure regulation, and cholesterol management. Open a container of Kraft guacamole dip and hold it directly next to a sliced fresh avocado. The color is wrong. Immediately, obviously wrong. It's too bright, too neon, too artificially vivid. Real avocado is earthy green with natural variation and subtle brown undertones. Kraft's product looks like it was mixed in a paint factory and packaged for people who've never seen actual avocado flesh. For families who've served this at every gathering for 20 years, believing the name meant quality. Or anyone who bought this, trusting the label and the brand recognition. You bought a lawsuit waiting to happen and ate it with tortilla chips. Kraft had the resources, the technology, and the supply chain to make real guacamole. They chose modified food starch instead. The biggest name on this list, the smallest amount of avocado, sued in federal court and still selling. Somebody dared to challenge them. The question is whether you'll keep buying it. What's the worst guacamole you've ever tasted? Drop it in the comments below. I want to hear your stories. 11 brands, 11 containers of oil, starch, and broken promises. But don't swear off store-bought guacamole entirely. 2 brands prove you can buy real guacamole without making it from scratch yourself. Yucatan. Open a container of Yucatan guacamole and the difference hits you before you even taste it. The color is natural, earthy green with flecks of darker avocado and visible pieces of onion and jalapeno throughout. It looks like someone actually made this in a kitchen with a fork and a cutting board, because the recipe is essentially what you'd make at home on your own counter. Real Hass avocados listed as the first ingredient, processed using a cold method that preserves nutrients without relying on fillers or artificial coloring. The ingredient list reads like a handwritten recipe card. Avocado, salt, onion, jalapeno, garlic, and citric acid. That's it. No hydrogenated oils, no added sugar, no artificial preservatives, no modified food starch, no soybean oil, no corn syrup solids, none of the chemicals that filled every single container on the avoid list. Scoop some onto a chip and taste the difference for yourself. The texture is uneven, slightly chunky in some bites, smoother in others. That's how real mashed avocado behaves. It doesn't hold a perfect artificial shape on the chip. The flavor is clean and rich, with a bright hit of citrus and a slow garlic finish that lingers pleasantly. It tastes alive because it is. The high potassium content from real avocado actively supports heart health and helps regulate blood pressure naturally without adding chemicals. For anyone managing blood pressure alongside daily medication, or families who want a snack that actually contributes real nutrition instead of sabotaging their health with hidden oils, Yucatan delivers what every other brand on this list only pretends to offer. Real food, honest labels, avocado that actually exists inside the container. Good Foods. This brand takes a completely different technological approach to the same honest result. Instead of heat pasteurization or chemical preservatives, Good Foods uses high-pressure processing to keep their guacamole fresh and safe. The technology maintains the full nutritional profile of whole avocados without adding a single chemical to extend shelf life or alter texture. Avocado is consistently listed as the first and dominant ingredient on every product they make. Their guacamole is plant-based and gluten-free, made in facilities with rigorous quality controls that would make Sabra's production team deeply uncomfortable. Open a container and smell it before anything else. That bright, grassy, slightly nutty aroma rising up. That's what real avocado smells like before a factory strips it out and replaces it with soybean oil and modified starch. The texture has natural variation across every scoop because it's made from real fruit, not extruded from a machine through a nozzle. It browns after you open it and leave it exposed to air. That oxidation that every avoid list brand specifically engineered away with preservatives and chemicals. Browning means real avocado is present. It means no artificial preservatives are fighting nature to keep things looking artificially perfect on the shelf. The clean label and absence of sodium-heavy fillers make this one of the safest store-bought options for anyone managing hypertension or kidney function, or families cooking for household members on restricted diets with specific nutritional requirements. No hidden ingredients working against prescriptions. No corn syrup solids triggering dangerous insulin spikes. No hydrogenated oils quietly building arterial plaque. Good Foods proves that a guacamole container can actually contain real guacamole. After 11 brands of lies, honest food feels like a revelation. 11 brands exposed. 2 worth buying. Your next scoop deserves better. Subscribe now, and if you're watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.